1.
The war itself was long, but it was ridiculously easy to win. My army and I traveled from city to city, one by one, first conquering Kanto, and afterward moving on to Johto. The rest of the world didn't put up much of a fight either. I suppose that during it all, the Mews finally decided to join with the humans to try to stop me. Even the 3 legendary beasts joined the fight, only to fall as well. Mewtwo was the driving force behind it all, though, and he was the last to fall. Even after everyone else had been defeated by death, or more likely by control, he refused to give up. The ground and sky were dust and dirt. The battlefield had been cleaned. The war was over. Well, almost. There was only one obstacle left. He floated a foot off the ground, physically weary, but I could feel his anger blazing with unbelievable strength. His fur was covered with a thin layer of dust, just like the air itself. I, on the other hand, remained untouched by the fury of war. I hovered above his head, in front where I could see him. He looked absolutely pitiful. But I knew better. Even weakened, he would be strong. Stronger than anyone I'd faced before. He had been created to be more powerful than any Mew, and I could see in his eyes that he had been preparing for this moment. In this last battle, the alignment of the winner would decide the fate of the world. So, Mewtwo, do you consider yourself lucky? Why? You're the only one left. If things had happened the way they were supposed to, you would have died a long time ago. What's that supposed to mean? It means you're lucky to be alive right now, and you'll be even luckier if you're still alive after this battle. It won't be because of luck that I win, he whispered. It will be because it is my right to win, and in doing so, will free those that you have enslaved, and bring about justice, once and for all. You sound like one of those dumb heroes in an adventure movie or something. Well, whatever. Come on, let's hurry and get this over with. We can't keep the world waiting, can we? That's right, we can't. I landed on the ground in front of him. All right, I'll let you make the first move. He glowered at me. The tension in the air felt heavy. It exploded with a psychic blast from Mewtwo. It barreled towards me, but I teleported out of the way. I came right back in front of Mewtwo and hit him with a blast of darkness. It knocked him backwards a ways, and then disappeared with a blow of his own. His body began to glow an eerie blue. I responded by charging up my own powers. When he looked like nothing but a bright blue haze, a huge ball of pure energy sped towards me at hyperspeed. I didn't have time to dodge, but instead let my own power shield me from this. I could see nothing but whiteness, but I could feel the intensity of his attacks surrounding me. It sped by in a second, but that was enough time to wipe out my shield and smack me hard enough to flip me backwards. As soon as I had recovered, I looked up to see him spin and hit me with a swift attack. The yellow stars hit me one by one, each bigger and more powerful than the last. I was left bruised, but far from beaten. Is that all you've got? I asked. I haven't seen you try much, he retorted. Oh, I'll try, I grinned. I just don't want to completely obliterate you when the battle has barely begun. He growled and came at me with the Zap Cannon. I canceled it out with Thunder Wave. I see you've been doing some training in Johto. Someone has to become strong enough to destroy you. From what I've heard, you memorize the attacks of everyone you fight. I have to be prepared to counter whatever comes my way. That's pretty smart of you, Mewtwo. I guess you've been doing some research too, huh? He floated closer to me, starting to glow again. And I know what you did to Pikachu. That name. I dropped to the ground in shock. I forgot about everything around me. I found myself staring into a pair of blue eyes, and in them, I could see Pikachu, alone, scared, lost, dying. Pikachu. You loved Pikachu, didn't you? I did? So why did you do that to him? I did it. I did it. Did I? Pikachu? Did I do that to you? No, that was someone else. That was... No! I let out a giant sphere of darkness that enclosed Mewtwo and swarmed him with its power. Then I shot it straight out, sending him flying into the sky and away. Don't you dare try to beat me that way! I screamed. I never cared about that rat! And I don't care about you, or anyone else that had anything to do with Ash Ketchum. He's dead, and he's not coming back! I shot up after Mewtwo, and hit him with another intense blast, knocking him back down to the earth. Never mention that name again! I shouted down at him. Through the renewed dust clouds, I could see him pulling himself back up. He was shaking slightly, but he wasn't defeated yet. "You mean Pikachu?" he asked wryly. "You're just asking to die, you know that?" I dashed down until I was floating in front of him. "I told you not to mention that thing," I whispered. "And here I thought you cared about him." "That was someone else." I began to carefully craft a bomb. I formed it in my paws and let it grow. Mewtwo could easily see it coming, but I knew he would have trouble dodging it anyway. Here's an attack I decided to learn after fighting Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Of course, I've added my own little part. With that, I fired. The small sphere flew towards Mewtwo, but dissolved before it hit. In the next few seconds, a ring of fire surrounded him, and then imploded. That was followed by a barrage of ice shards and a shock of electricity. Last of all was a blanket of shadow that wrapped around him, and all that was left to do was kiss him goodnight. I floated up to the same level as he was. I let the darkness take over my vision. Through it, I could literally see his energy. It hadn't been completely weakened yet. As I prepared for my attack, I never even thought to prepare for his. It hit me like a train through a tunnel. The last thing I saw before it hit was a sudden blinding light. It completely threw off my attack and sent me spinning through the air. When I could think straight enough to get my bearings, it looked like someone had knocked the world on a huge tilt. I didn't even have time to sit up straight before Mewtwo was at it again. He grabbed me by the tail and pulled hard, whipping the rest of me up face to face, and then he grabbed me by the head and got a hard grip. Then he pulled, squeezing my head and stretching me out to almost beyond what I was capable of. As soon as I was able, I wriggled and squirmed. I bent over double and then snapped back with a kick until he finally had to let go. I could feel my head throbbing and thumping. It hurt, and as much as I disliked it, that fact would only give me an edge. "You just made a big mistake," I said, though every word hit me with more pain. Mewtwo didn't reply with the words. Instead, he shot a concentrated psychic attack towards me. It hit me in the chest and knocked me backwards a few feet. Alright, that is it. Mewtwo, you're right about me memorizing attacks, but also certain fighting techniques of my opponents. You seem to have forgotten about my very first opponent. The world blazed blue before me, and I let out all the pain that I had acquired through my headache and gave it to Mewtwo all at once. I felt better after that, but best of all was the fact that Mewtwo felt worse. He was grounded with nothing but pure pain. And now, I claim my victory. He winced and pushed himself up enough to see me through pained eyes. Why must you do this? Don't struggle. You never should have fought back in the first place, Mewtwo. Don't you see? It hurts more if you try to fight it. Leave the pain to me. I came into this world because of nothing but pain. I am pain personified. I can handle it. From now on, I will be in charge of pain. No one else will ever feel pain. I'm going to put an end to pain and suffering. By causing it? The war is over, Mewtwo. Now we begin a time of healing, where the humans and Pokemon of the world are finally rid of the torture that we call sadness. Isn't that for the best, Mewtwo? Don't you agree? But whatever happened to happiness? He breathed. I could feel his life energy fading slowly. Pain is so much stronger, I said just as quietly. With the absence of pain, everyone will know nothing but contentment, and then they will be happy. For the sake of the world, I pray that you are right. He closed his eyes slowly and laid his head back. His chest rose and then fell, for the last time. In his last moments, I could feel that he didn't think of his defeat as a personal loss, but a loss that could doom the whole world. I convinced myself that he had it backwards, but watching him die, I knew that above all, I had lost another friend.